USA, where there are all sorts of views about the political consequence of immigration. And in fact, the States is probably the States probably is a better basis for sort of forming views about this. The view in the United States amongst the Democrats has been that anybody who was not white European was a Democrat voter. And it didn't matter whether you were South American, African American, Mexican, or whatever, that by definition, anybody who was not white would be Democrat. And that has been the political assumption the Democrats have made for years.
Does that explain, could I interrupt you, does that explain the open borders policy of Biden, who's virtually thrown the borders open? Does it also explain the extraordinary rate of immigration that the Australian government has adopted?
There are people who hold that view. I mean, I don't know, but there are certainly people who hold the view that the open border policy was perceived by some to have a political benefit. But the interesting thing in the States is what they're now finding is that what we will call the Mexican vote, or the equivalent, isn't going as much to the Democrats as had been thought. And if you look at Florida, for example, there is no suggestion that Florida is going to go Democrat anytime soon. And whereas there were hopes that the influx of migrants would change Texas from a Republican state to a Democrat state, that may no longer be the case. In fact, last year, the New York Times published an analysis conducted by two academics from the Brookings Institution. These two academics were the same two academics who did an analysis of Democrat policies back in the 80s. And as a result of their recommendations, there were changes in the Democrat policy, and that underpinned the election of President Clinton. And they put forward the proposition that the Mexicans could be the modern equivalent of the Italians, and that is Democrat to Republican in 3 generations. And they were making the point that amongst the Mexican and South Americans was a high level of religious adherence, and that religious adherence actually outweighed their economic interests when it came to voting.
One of the things that I find surprising about the allegiance, for example, of the Afro-Americans to the Democrat Party is the Democrat Party is the party, firstly, of slavery, and then the party of segregation.